Oh, John Bassalon. Oh, no, White Death. Simo Hayha. So he's a fun one. Simo Hayha. I believe he is the Finnish. Yeah, he's the Finnish guy who fought the Russians. We need another one of him right now.
Years now, and
so we're gonna watch this real quick. We're gonna watch this video right quick about Simo Hayha, the history's deadliest sniper, the White Death. It's a fun one. Again, Fat Electrician, go ahead. Like, he's down here. He gets way more views than anything I could ever do. He gets like 1 million times my views, but you know, credit where credit's due. And oh, look, another VTuber who also did this. I'm sure this will not in any way be anywhere. I won't get her views. Look, 36,000. I'm not getting that shit. I don't have tits. Why would people want to watch me?
This is probably the most requested video ever.
Of course it is.
Today we're talking about the deadliest sniper of all time, Simo Hayha, aka the
White Death.
The Finnish have a cultural concept known as Sisu, and if you look at it at a glance, it can be easily confused with like tenacity or grit, but it's more than
Love that movie.
Sisu isn't just your ability to grit your teeth and push through adversity. Sisu is the personality trait that allows somebody to intentionally and stoically allow themselves to be immersed with adversity until they either become immune to it or become the adversity themselves.
In the military, we have a term for that. It's called embrace the suck. In other words, you're out in the field. It's 40 degrees below zero. The wind is blowing. Your MRE got run over by a tank. You're not going to get to eat tonight. You can't put your sleeping bag down because your first shift, by the time you're ready, your shift's done, you have to march anyway because you have to move because of enemy contact. Stop bitching, stop whining, embrace it, expect more pain, and you'll get over it. Eventually you'll get there, but until then, suck it up, Buttercup. That's what that means.
And in 1939, when a 33-year-old, 5-foot-tall Finnish farmer named Simo found himself on the battlefield.
My short kings, you have your champion.
Defending his home, outnumbered 100 to 1, surrounded by death on all sides, rather than succumb to it, he became death itself.
Nicholas, what is this?
This is his wife.
That's the new CMMG BR4.
When did you get
That looks like a toy, by the way. I hate the colors on it.
it?
I've had it?
Nice recovery.
No, I remembered something like this.
Okay, fine. I just got it, but I had to because it's the only one they Cerakoted to look like a Busch Light can.
So you got a new toy. What do I get?
I mean, what do you want?
I don't know. I'll do some shopping and I'll let you know. So have fun with the ad.
Mayday! Mayday!
This video is brought to you
I'm amazed Disney didn't bite his ass for that.
You give them money, they turn around
and no, I'm not skipping the ad because I'm watching his shit. He gets to hop.
Here's the deal. Pretty much anytime you use a free service on the internet and you click that little box that says I agree to the terms and conditions, you basically just agreed to
and this is actually something you might want to get.
Your personal information as humanly possible. They then turn around
when you use it. Use code electrician.
That's how they can afford to offer you a free service. But when you
they deleted me.
Go and they monitor all of these online data brokers for your personal information, and then if they find it, they submit all the opt-out forms on your behalf, so they have to take down and stop selling that information. So when you buy Delete Me, you're not actually buying anything, you're just buying your way out of all the negative consequences of all the free shit that you've already got. And because they continue to monitor those data brokers, you're buying yourself out of all the future negative consequences of all the free shit that you haven't even gotten yet. So if you want to give Delete Me a try, there's going to be a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video.
Stop deleting me. Hello.
All right, Simo Hayha. He was born on December 17th, 1905, and grew up on his family farm, which was right on the border between Finland and Russia. Now,
he was almost 40 when the war was over.
Think of like some dude in a baseball cap and overalls holding a pitchfork with rows and rows of corn in the background. It wasn't one of those kinds of farms. This is what you would call a forest farm, which is a lot more
lumber,
to like what we would call a homestead today. Basically, Simo grew up in a cabin in the woods, and they had a really big garden, and they grew enough food for themselves, and then had enough extra to like take it to the farmer's market and sell for money. So Simo essentially grew up his entire life in this harsh, hilly, wooded, snow-covered, freezing environment. This is his baseline.
Yeah, country boy.
Suck to him. This is just your normal.
You'll notice that's a trend. Him, Sergeant York, frickin' John Bassalon. Well, I don't think John was John one. I can't remember. Anyway, York and Audie Murphy, like the dangerous ones are the country boys. You don't mess with us.
Everyday stuff. Walking uphill every direction through the snow is just a good day.
That's a life.
And this almost goes without saying, but I'll mention it anyways, that hunting was also a humongous part of how his family put food on the table.
Of course.
And Simo did that from a very young age as well, hunting in this harsh environment. Unfortunately, Simo was pretty intimately acquainted with death at a young age. He had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. One of his brothers passed away in 1918 in the Finnish Civil War, and another one of his brothers passed away after suffering from heat stroke on a construction site. Simo is a member of one of the last generations that didn't have the luxury of quitting. Okay, this guy was born, and the minute that he could walk, he was helping his family in their fight for survival. There was no quitting. There was doing or there was dying. And if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, the point I need you to get from this is
tough.
Simo's a small guy. He's only 5 foot tall. He's 110 pounds, but he literally doesn't know what quitting is. Things that me and you would call horrific circumstances is just a Tuesday to him. It just doesn't even register that he should be having a bad time. He's literally...
And a lot of people don't understand that because, like, in a modern society, we have such, like, benefits and, like, such... We literally live like kings. Even the most impoverished of us has better things than most of these people back 100 years ago, 200 years ago had. Life was so much harder just 50 years ago. Like, talking to my dad, like, he remembers being, like, 60 years ago when he was a kid. Like, he remembers shit being rough. Like... It was so much harder then. We are so spoiled. These people were a different breed.
Literally just happy to be alive. At the age of 17, following in his older
oh my god, look at that hat.
Simo joins the Finnish Civil Guard, which is equivalent to like the American National Guard. Essentially, they train on weekends and they'll train a couple weeks a year, being ready in case they need to be called up by their country.
Which they will.
Of the time, he's just going back being a farmer. As a member of the Civil Guard, he is issued one of the most iconic military service rifles of all time, the Mosin Nagant, a bolt-action rifle. He's also issued a small amount of ammunition to train with, but because of budgetary restrictions, they decided it'd be more efficient to just issue all of the Civil Guard members the materials they needed to load their own ammunition. So Simo was also manufacturing his own ammo. During his time in the Civil Guard, he receives awards for his excellent skiing capabilities as well as his physical conditioning. He is not a big man, but the dude is the Energizer Bunny. He can just go forever. In addition to that, he also immediately becomes well known for being an excellent marksman. Before he received any formal shooting training from the military, he entered a regional shooting competition where they had to shoot a target 100 times from 300 meters with iron sights, and he had 93 out of 100 hits. He won a ton of shooting competitions inside the Finnish military, not just with his Mosin, but also with the Suomi M31 submachine gun. He very quickly
which is like a typewriter that just never stopped firing.
And it is said that he was able to estimate range within the accuracy of 1 meter up to 150 meters away. Okay, that's literally a superhuman ability. You could just point to something off in the distance and Simo could eyeball it and be like, it's like 89 meters away, and he was dead on every single time. And that's not even the scariest part. The scariest part was how fast Simo could operate his Mosin bolt-action rifle. He could fire his Mosin accurately, insanely fast, so fast that they actually wanted to time him one day. So his buddies got a stopwatch and they were going to time to see how many times Simo could hit a target 150 meters away with his bolt-action rifle in the span of 60 seconds. Simo scored 16 hits in the span of 60 seconds with a bolt-action rifle.
I'm sorry. What? Hold on. Go back over that. How fast?
Of 60 target 100. His buddies got a stopwatch and they were going to time to see how many times Simo could hit a target 150 meters away,
which is hard, but not that hard,
in the span of 60 seconds. Simo scored 16 hits in the span of 60 seconds with a bolt-action rifle.
Whoa.
Here's the one. And just so we're on the same page, the Mosin Nagant only holds 5 rounds in the magazine, meaning that Simo shot the first 6 rounds, because there was 1 in the chamber, reloaded, shot the next 5,
3 times,
reloaded again, and shot another 5, hitting the target 150 meters away with fucking iron sights every single time. Okay, if you don't know much about guns, this is a bolt-action rifle I have, but he had to do something like fire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reload the gun, and then he did that 2 more times in 60 seconds with 100% accuracy.
Jesus.
So Simo is just a natural superhuman level shooter. So this goes on for 2 years, and then at the age of 19, he ends up joining the Finnish active military because at this point in time, Finland has mandatory service of 15 months. And Simo gets
I wonder why. No, it's almost like they maybe have someone nearby.
They can't decide if it's hilarious or terrifying, the image of Simo rolling up to a battlefield on a bicycle. So he serves his 15 months in
They
active
see
duty
me
military, nothing
rolling.
really going on at this
They
point in time.
hating.
He goes back into the Civil Guard and continues being a farmer. And that's pretty much all he's got going on for like the next decade. He's just in the Civil Guard, winning shooting competitions, going back home, taking care of his crops, and going hunting.
And here we go. Here come the assholes.
1939, an event known as the Shelling of Manila happens. The real quick, oversimplified version of this is essentially Russia wants to take over Finland. Finland isn't down with that, so Russia now has to come up with a reason to go to war with Finland. They can't find any legitimate reasons, so they fabricate one. Simply put, this is a false flag event. The Russian military shells near a
That
Russian
seems to be,
town
you know,
near the border
a lot
with
of that
Finland.
happening back
They
then.
turn around and say, well, actually, Finland is trying to shoot artillery at our town, so we're going to go to war with them. Finland obviously denies shelling the Russian town because, well, they didn't actually do it, and they offer over to Russia like, hey, we're willing to let a third-party independent investigator come in and determine what happened. We did not do this.
Russia said
declines and then invades Finland 4 days later.
Oh no!
Russia sends in 450,000 soldiers
Assholes.
to attack Finland. Okay, to put that into perspective, the total population, not the military, the total population of Finland at this point in time is about 4 million people. So 25% of the entire Finnish population is getting sent in with guns to attack Finland. And those 450,000 soldiers...
I'm sorry. Hold on.
The total population, not the military...
I want to hear that math again.
Russia sends in 450,000 soldiers to attack Finland. Okay, to put that into perspective, the total population, not the military, the total population of Finland at this point in time is about 4 million people. So 25% of the entire Finnish population is getting sent in with guns to attack Finland.
Close, but not
450,000
quite
Soviets are being
accurate.
backed
But
up
I'll,
by the Soviet
allow
population
it.
of 168 million.
Seems fair.
Calling this a David versus Goliath type situation is putting it mildly. On paper,
It's only
Finland
40
doesn't
times
stand a
your
chance.
size.
But Finland does have a couple of things going for it because in the years leading up to this, Stalin conducted the Great Purge, essentially killing off all of his high-ranking and knowledgeable military leadership because
Like
he
a
was worried that
dumbass.
they were going to try to overthrow him. So by and
As they
large,
should
the
have.
Soviet military at this point in time is pretty incompetent.
Oh
And the Finnish, well,
no!
they're
Communists
Finnish. They've
kill
got that going
everybody
for 'em. Okay, if you
intelligent.
learn
Who
about
see this
history, you know, there's
coming?
a couple of quick life hacks if you want to live a long, happy life. You know, like don't smoke,
See?
eat a
Oh
good
no, they tried to
diet,
delete me
never try
too.
to fight the Filipinos in the jungle, and never try to fight the Finnish people in the snow. It's just a bad time.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Now, for Simo at this point in time, he had just last year in 1938 gotten formal sniper training from the Finnish military. Not that he really needed it, but he does have that title now. And when the Russians attacked, Simo was actually out in the field doing a training mission with the Civil Guard, so he didn't find out the Russians attacked until the day after when he was immediately activated and put into duty. So he gets orders, reports to the front line, and his new company commander is a man by the name of Arne Utilainen, aka
That's a name.
the Terror of Morocco.
Ooh.
And this man, much like Simo, is a complete and absolute gangster, but instead of being a sniper like Simo is, he's a leader. He's leading men into battle that are going in heavily outnumbered. We're talking like 100 guys versus 5,000 men on the Kola front where they're fighting.
It's fine, it's the Russians.
Signature move,
They need that
embracing
extra
Sisu
help.
and having no fear would go out on the front line.
Okay, real quick. You can tell their rank because if you look at his collar, the 3 dots means captain. 2 dots would be second lieutenant, would be lieutenant. First 1 dot would be second lieutenant or ensign. And then you see the bigger, and then they'd have like star clusters or diamonds beyond that. That'd be like majors, colonels, etc.
Signature move, embracing Sisu
I know
and having
rank.
no fear, would go out on the front lines in the middle of battle and sit in a rocking chair with gunfire and explosions going off, giving orders to his men to show them that they didn't have anything to fear. And Simo is now taking
Again,
orders
it's
from
Russians
this guy.
shooting.
Okay,
Yeah, I
shit's
wouldn't-
about to get real.
The White Death.
Simo shows up, they start digging trenches, laying out barbed wire, setting the front line. They end up fighting their asses off for 2 days straight. After that, they actually end up receiving orders to fall back a little bit, which they do. That becomes like Utilainen's thing. Like, we're not retreating unless we receive orders. We are going to stand here and fight till the bitter end unless ordered to do otherwise by our superiors. So they fall back, and Utilainen knows that Simo is like from this area. Like, his farm is right down the road. He knows the area, he knows the terrain. So he grabs Simo and he's like, hey, I need you to sneak behind enemy lines and start cutting all the telephone wires. To which Simo replies, and I quote, I'll try my best. And Simo's best is absolutely enough. He sneaks behind enemy lines. He's cutting all the telephone wires, just wreaking havoc behind enemy lines. Ends up making it back completely unscathed, at which point Utalainen is like, okay, this dude's
Now go in the back and start
he
cutting
knows the
throats.
terrain. I'm just gonna make him like my go-to sniper for all my shit. Shortly after this, on the Kola front, where Utalainen is in charge, there is a Soviet sniper that keeps taking out platoon leaders, okay? They're specifically targeting his officers, his best guys. Utalainen cannot have this happen. He turns to Simo, basically says, go get him. So that next morning before the sun comes up, Simo goes, has a big breakfast, and then takes off. He goes to the general area where this sniper's been operating, and he inserts himself in, and he builds a little snow berm, and he packs the snow down really tight, and then he pours water all over it so that it freezes into this ice wall, and this becomes one of his signature tactics. And this is brilliant because Simo is planning ahead for failure. He is planning on missing his first shot. He never does.
He wants a
it never
bullet
hurts
to
be
hold
ready
him.
for the worst possible outcome.
He's
You see,
making
because
an actual
Simo already
defensive
knows,
position.
growing up in this environment and hunting his whole life, that the first time you fire that bullet, snow is going to kick up all around you into a giant cloud. And if the other enemy sniper doesn't know where you are, they're going to know now. So Simo, thinking 10 steps ahead, goes and eliminates the snow factor. He turns all the snow around him into ice so that there's nothing to kick up at all. And then he just lays there still all day long, not moving. He's constantly putting ice and snow into his mouth so that his breath doesn't
yeah, I
create
remember that
fog,
trick.
So that there's no way of possibly seeing this guy, and he waits and he waits all
Keeps
day
you hydrated,
long.
too.
Soon enough, the sun starts going down. And as the sun is going down behind Simo, he ends up catching a glint off the enemy sniper's scope, but he's not in a hurry, so he waits. So now he knows where the enemy sniper is, but he's patient, and he just keeps waiting, and he keeps waiting, and the sun keeps going further and further down, and it's getting darker and darker, and soon we're at the point where there's gonna be nothing but starlight in 15 minutes. And at that point, the Soviet sniper just stands the fuck up out of nowhere, like it was the bell just rang, and it's lunchtime at the factory. He just gets up because his shift is over, and he starts walking back to camp, and Simo drops him one shot straight to the head.
What an idiot!
So Simo reports back to Utalainen, hey, solved the problem, no issue. It's been like 18 hours and Simo's already got this guy down, and this guy's been wreaking havoc on his men for like a week and a half. So Simo is obviously super legit, at which point Utalainen basically just lets him off the leash. Like, hey, whatever you're doing, just fucking
Release the Simon! Like the freaking Kraken of Finland.
keep doing it. Go win. And this is what Simo does every single day. He goes out, he builds his ice berm into a couple of different locations that he has already set up, and he is just picking off Russians left and right. And unlike other snipers at the time that were trying to prioritize high-value targets like officers, Simo absolutely was not, which makes sense.
You're
because
Russian,
his family farm
you
is
die.
right down the road. Like his family, his friends, where he grew up is literally under attack right now. If you were wearing a Russian uniform and he saw you, you were a dead man. Simo got asked about this later in life, and he replied, and I quote, "I shot when I saw the enemy. I didn't care if they were a leader." Simo is literally treating the front line like he's a shooting gallery at the state fair. There are multiple days where he is logging between 10 and 20 confirmed kills. So at this point, Simo starts to get a ton of notoriety within the Finnish military.
Oh
and
my
it gets
God.
to the point where
His scoreboard must have filled up fast.
Forward observer that's shooting accurate artillery. It doesn't matter if it's an enemy sniper anywhere on the front line. They would send for Simo, and they would pick him up, escort him to that part of the front line, and he would go handle the problem. And the best part about this is you got to remember, this is Finland in December in 1935. So when they send for Simo, they're sending a reindeer-guided fucking sleigh to pick him up and escort him to wherever there's a problem, and he's gonna go out and solve it. He's like the shitty inverse of Santa Claus, except instead of leaving a lump of coal in your stocking, he's gonna put a piece of lead in your fucking forehead.
No witnesses?
So around this point, Simo starts to gain notoriety with the Soviets, and they start calling him
On the first day of Christmas,
the White Death. The Soviet government,
my true love gave to me
a
30-06 in the head.
The White Death, and every single time Simo kills all of them. They never stood a chance. The man can shoot 16 rounds a minute accurately out of his Mosin. He's wearing white camouflage in the snow. He's turned all the snow around him into ice, so there's no kicking up snow. You can't see his breath. He doesn't have a scope to catch a glint of. He's literally eliminated luck.
Yeah, remember, this guy's a sniper with iron sights, so, you know, everybody keeps bitching about them in video games. Get good.
From the scenario. He is a complete ghost, and he's just wiping the floor with the entire Soviet military. So eventually the Soviets are like, okay, we're just we're just going to quit fucking with this guy. We're going to quit sending men into that area of operation.
Just artillery blast it.
And we're just going to focus on other areas. And Simo takes this as his opportunity to go play offense. So he goes to Utalainen and is like, hey, give me a squad of guys. I'm going to lead them into battle. We're going to go behind enemy lines and we're going to take the fight to them. So Simo starts leading a squad past enemy lines at dusk every night. And they would literally ski miles and miles behind enemy lines where the Soviets think they're safe. And back there, they just have these massive bonfires that they're all sitting around eating dinner, drinking, smoking, having a good time at the end of the day. And Simo and his men would ski to within like 100 meters of them, dismount.
Oh, look. Target practice.
And low crawl till they were right up on top of them. And then Simo and his men would pop up with submachine guns, mow down all the Russians, and then steal all their equipment, all their guns, all their ammo, all
their food.
And fucking bounce back to the front line. Okay, it's literally guerrilla warfare on ice. It's absolutely terrifying.
Remember, everybody, never overcommit.
Like
hit and run.
By December 25th, 1935, Simo already had over 100 confirmed kills, and his record was 25 men in a single day. So the Soviets double, they triple their efforts trying to take out the White Death. They start sending in counter sniper teams with forward observers with them, and then as soon as Simo shoots one of them, they start just calling in artillery in the general area that Simo's in, but they never ever hit him. Whether it's luck or divine intervention or just fate,
or both,
Simo makes
all
it
the above
every single time. And the best part is every single time they try to do this tactic, the odds of them actually accomplishing their goal gets less and less because every time they're sending in their best guys and Simo's killing them. So the quality of the men that Simo's going up against is constantly deteriorating.
This happened in World War II and Japan as well. Because if you were an American fighter pilot, if you were an ace, you'd go up, you'd fly, you'd shoot, you'd do your job. Then you would come back. And after a while, they're like, okay, you got like 10, 20 kills. We're going to send you back home to the Air Force, Army Air Corps at the time, and we're going to have you teach new pilots how to fly because you are really good at it. Japanese didn't do that. They just kept sending their best pilots in. 40 kills, 50 kills, 60 kills. I am a great samurai. Doesn't matter how great you are, one of these days you're going to fuck up. They get shot down, and all their technical secrets go with them. And now you have to replace his ass with a raw recruit who has no clue how to fight. See why we won the war?
January of 1940, Simo is an absolute legend with over 200 confirmed kills, 51 of which he got in 3 days. One of his other records at this point in time was he managed to take out 5 enemy snipers in a single day. Because of everything Simo's accomplished around the same point in time, Utalainen's boss, the general in charge of that entire front, pulls Simo back and they have a ceremony where they award him with an honorary rifle. It's also a Mosin just like his, but
look at him, he's short.
Very nice.
He's tiny.
They award it to him. And you have to realize at this point in time, Simo is very, very important to the Finnish war effort. Not only is he out there just being a one-man army, wrecking house, taking it to the Soviets,
he's out scaring the shit out of the Russians.
The morale of the entire Finnish military. Like, he is the hero that everybody's looking to, like, this guy's on our side. We might be able to win this. He is such a big deal that the general's wife knits him a pair of wool mittens, okay?
Oh!
It sounds like just like a nice pleasantry, but do you know how fucking gangster you have to be for the general's wife to feel motivated to knit you in particular a pair of mittens? Okay, that means the general is going
keep yourself warm while you
his
feed
wife,
on the blood of your enemy.
The White Death is the shit. He's the key to winning this war. He's everything right now. And the wife is like, oh shit, I better do something nice for this guy because he's literally going to save the whole country by himself. So Simo gets his ceremonial rifle, gets his wool mittens. He's also awarded a pocket watch, which at this point in time is a huge deal to have a watch.
That's
so
a lot
he
of
gets all that. And usually at this point in time, you know, bigger, more powerful countries like America would pull you back and use you for war bonds, parade you around the country. But they send Simo right back into action because they can't afford to not have him on the front lines. So Simo gets right back to work. He's playing cat and mouse with the Russians. Whenever they want to send men in, Simo picks them off. Whenever they don't want to send men in, Simo skis in with a squad.
You couldn't bring him back, but what you could do is you could send like your snipers in training with him, like 1 or 2 guys, probably 1 guy, just to be in case he's young Padawan, and then he just sits in the back and is like, watch me. And at the end of the day, after they're killing Russians, like, okay, what are your questions? And then just train them that way. out there. And then like one time, Simo just sit back and watch and let him do it. And that'd be too dangerous. No, just tell him, okay, go out and do it. And then if you have any questions, come back. Like 5 of them go out there, try to snipe, 4 come back. He's like, well, somebody didn't learn their lesson.
Squad mows them down at their campfire. And this goes on for months. Simo just straight up farming the Russians for XP. And by March of 1940, the Russians grew impatient and they launched a major attack. And Simo said that the Russians just kept coming, just wave after wave, just meat wall tactics of I'm gonna march my men into your gunfire until you run out of bullets and hopefully I've got more men. And during this time, Simo's
That's
not
Russians.
hiding at his ice wall with his Mosers.
Still doing
There's
that.
too many Russians for that. He's on the front line leading a squad of infantry with his submachine gun, absolutely taking the fight to the Russians. Simo had actually said that he had heard rumors that the Soviets were using the machine guns on their tanks to basically force the men to march into gunfire, and if they wouldn't go, they would mow them down with the tank. And after seeing how many men were just coming straight at their lines, getting mowed down, Simo believed it. During this time, Simo set his all-time record for killing 40 men in a single day.
Takes a war crime.
To lead his squad into battle until on March 6th at 2 p.m. when he feels what he describes as a suppressed bang inside of his mouth. He then said that he immediately felt his mouth was full of bone fragments and blood before losing consciousness. Simo doesn't know this yet, but he has just been shot in the face with an exploding bullet, which has actually been a war crime since the 1800s, but, you know, hey, so is launching a false flag event to invade Finland to begin with, so why stop at 1? Simo is then scooped off the front lines and taken back to an aid station where he is triaged. Triage is the act of medics basically sorting out all of their patients to, you know, the people that need to make it to the hospital right now on the next truck to have a chance at surviving, the people that can, you know, lay here for a couple of hours and they'll probably be fine, walking
war crimes. Leave it to the Canadian.
Basically means they're dead or they're going to die before they make it to the hospital, and we're not going to waste the space on the next truck. He is literally thrown into a pile of other dead Finnish soldiers. We don't know how much time passes.
What the fuck? This is your hero.
Simo's foot moving in this what is now a mass grave. They then end up getting Simo out. They get him to the hospital, and he is in a coma for the next 7 days. He then wakes up in the hospital on March 13th, 1940, the very same day the Soviets sign a peace treaty with Finland, effectively ending the Winter War. Coincidence? I think not.
You're supposed to be dead.
Okay, now obviously I'm being facetious, but for real, there's a greater than a 0% chance that the Russian military got a memo like, hey, we thought we killed the White Death. We were wrong. He just woke up. And the Soviet Union is like, fuck this. I'm out. The Finns have the Terminator on their team. There's no other explanation. The dude has to be hacking. Okay, he's got over 500 confirmed kills at this point. By
damn you, you wall hacks. Turn auto aim off.
People, and then we
freaking
shoot
head
him
clicker.
in the face, and he still doesn't die. Not only that, it was an exploding bullet. Literally a war.
Yes. We love the Geneva suggestions here. All right.
Crime because it's so deadly, and the dude just takes a 7-day nap about it, and now he's going back into combat. No, we're done. Sign the armistice. Winter War's over. We've had enough.
Oof, look at that mouth.
The war ending
Poor
is
guy.
actually great news for Simo because now the hospitals aren't constantly under the threat of getting overrun by Soviets or getting hit with artillery, so they're going to actually be able to get him the surgeries and care that he needs to make the best recovery humanly possible. He spends the next 14 months in the hospital where he undergoes 26 reconstructive surgeries on his face and jaw. After those surgeries, Simo makes a pretty good recovery. He gets released from the hospital. He is released from his military duties, and unfortunately, part of the armistice between the USSR and Finland is that some of the lands that Finland had got relinquished over to the USSR, including Simo's farm. So the Finnish government actually gives Simo a new farm with a house roughly the same size, same type terrain, as close as he can get
upgrade him, come on.
And from there, he just goes back to doing what he was doing before. He's farming, he's hunting, he's walking around in the woods by himself. He just goes back to doing his thing. For his service, he was awarded the 1st and 2nd class Medals of Liberty, the 3rd and 4th class Crosses of Liberty, and in 1941, he was nominated for the Mannerheim Cross, which is the Finnish equivalent of the American Medal of Honor. But unfortunately, that medal didn't actually get conceived until 1941, which is after Simo's service. So a lot of the paper pushers inside the Finnish government denied him getting the Mannerheim Cross because his, I guess his service was before that award existed, so that
pisses me off. Yes, we know you did all these things, but unfortunately, we're not going to give you this award because we made it after you did all those things. You should have done them after we made the award. Fuck off, bureaucrats.
wouldn't make sense, so he never actually got the Mannerheim Cross, but the man deserved it 1000%. The final
Oh,
stats for the short-time
Finland! I hope you've made corrections since then. You don't want an angry letter, do you?
that were 542 confirmed kills, 200.
That's a lot of commies.
Which were from his Mosin Nagant with nothing but iron sights, and the rest were from his submachine gun. Now, these stats have been criticized by both, historians in academia and internet comment sections today, aka a bunch of people that weren't actually
basically both
there,
people who are
stats
about the same
are
level of
validated by
intelligence.
both his company commander and his company chaplain, the people that were there. And if that wasn't enough, which it should be, but just in case you think it's not, in 2017, well after his passing, his nephew stumbled across Simo's personal memoirs that he had never published, never let anyone else see.
Publish that shit. Publish it.
For himself. And in his personal writings, again, to himself, that he never tried to get published, that he would have absolutely no reason to lie on, he says that he killed well over 500 men. But ultimately, Simo didn't, and probably wouldn't to this day if he was
Half
still
a
around,
battalion,
care what you
Jesus.
thought, because he wasn't doing it because he wanted the glory. He just went back to farming. He led a humble life. He didn't want to be known as the White Death. He just wanted to be left alone. That was his happily ever after, just living on a farm, doing his own thing, and that's exactly what he got. Okay, worth noting, he passed away in 2002 at the age of 96.
Wow.
The Soviet Union fell in 1991, okay?
He outlived the
Simo Hayha
bitches.
took the fight to the enemy to a degree that no other singular human ever has in the history of the world, and then he gets shot in the face with an exploding bullet. Again, a literal war crime, shrugs it off, and then proceeds to live longer than the country that he went to war with. That's gangster as
Badass.
fuck. And that is the story of Simo Hayha, the White Death, the farmer's son that rose to the occasion, defended his country against all odds, showing the enemy the true meaning of Sisu. Thank you for watching. The best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack
Bang. Out. Oh my god. Remember, if you want to be a war
The
hero,
moral of the story here is you should probably just be nice to everybody, because that little 5-foot guy at the grocery store might be the biggest badass of all time.
if you want to be a war hero, practice your rifle. Be good and accurate. Get good, scrubs. Start leveling. Oh my god. Well, that was fun. That's gonna put me at 3 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night.